And welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name is Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And this is the show where we demystify technology and we help you, we give you tips and tricks. And I got to tell you, we need lots of tips and tricks about iTunes Sync. These days, we're attaching our iPods and our iPads and our iPhones and our other things.
Yeah, there are many different iDevices that attach to your iTunes on your computer. So
yeah, and the big problem, of course, is that iTunes is not just about tunes anymore. It's about data.
Yes.
And so when we sync, it can be complicated.
There are a lot of different types of content that people have on their computers, and people are amassing huge digital libraries full of music, movies, books, photos, all of these other things. And generally speaking, these days, people are getting more of them that will fit on their little devices. So learning how to sync things properly can help you manage that flow of information into a proper, manageable stream.
So today we are going to show you how to master iTunes and especially the syncing functionality, because I think it's definitely necessary.
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, we're looking forward to this episode. Hopefully you are too. So let's take a break, and when we come back, iTunes Sync at a master level. Today on
Lab Rats.
Welcome back to Lab Rats. In case you're wondering, we have a sponsor for the show, and they're fabulous. They're called hover.com, and it's a great place where you can go buy webdomains, .tvs, all kinds of dots. It's a good place to buy dots.
Dot everything, almost.
Dot everything, exactly.
Well, not everything. A lot.
Dot a lot.
Dot a lot.
Sweet, this should be the new slogan, dot a lot. Anyway, so hover.com, check it out. You can register a domain, and then you can get your email on that, so you could be like, if your name's Alan, you could be Alan at, you have a cat called Bobby, you could be Alan at bobbythecat.com, or, all kinds of really cool, you could be inventive with it. You could use your creative brain. It could be awesome. We're customers. We like them. We think that they're decent. If you call them and you have a problem, they can actually pick up the phone and actually talk to you. So we really want you to use them from our heart to yours. I'm going to give you this coupon here so you can get 10% off. But please go use them. Please, if you've seen this ad a few times and you've been thinking, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, please try them. Do it right now.
Especially now. They've got a new control panel. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
Actually, the new interface is fantastic, so we highly recommend them.
Go do it.
Hover.com. All right, let's get on with becoming masters of iTunes Sync.
All righty. So if you're like me, which you probably aren't in some key ways, but in other
smell
key ways,
better than you.
I'll dispute that. Anyways. From a media perspective, I bet you have a whole pile of movies.
I do, yeah. I have tons and tons of movies and actually TV shows. I'm like a TV show addict.
There you go.
So like my iPad's jam full of stuff, and it's drives me crazy because I'm offloading and onloading and doing all kinds of stuff, and it's just juggling it through sync is a big pain in the potato.
Yeah. So me, I'm a big music fan. I've got a number of devices, including a 160 gigabyte iPod Classic. And even that won't fit all of my music because I've got so much of it. So I think a lot of people are getting into this, especially when we're getting to devices like the iPad, which are limited in terms of size. So they got 16 or 32 gigabytes of space. A lot of that will go to apps. So your music and your videos will take up a smaller section than it would, say, on a gigantic MP3 device. So you want strategies of making sure that the stuff that you actually want to be on there is on there, and not just the first X amount of whatever you have. So have a few ways that we can do this. So,
okay, so show us, master of the iTunes Sync. How do we do this?
All right. So first of all, you have to plug your device into your computer and fire up iTunes. So in this case, we have our iPad here, which is 16 gigabytes, not a lot of space.
Yes.
Got it plugged into our computer, and you'll notice on the side here of our iTunes, we have devices, and in this case, we've got the iPad listed here. So when you click on the top thing here, you see below that we've got music and movies, and we can see all of the things that we've got on here. At this point, not a whole lot. But when we click on the very top, the actual name of the device, we get a summary screen over here. So we can see the name of it, what the capacity is. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see what type of content is on there and how much space it's taking up. And then along the top, you'll also notice that there's a bunch of tabs. Now, this is where the fun happens. So if you're just used to plugging it in and letting it sync all by itself, you'll notice the sync button in the bottom corner here. It'll just sync a bunch of stuff potentially, or sync nothing if you haven't set anything up.
Yeah, what is the default? It's probably mostly things are turned off, right?
Yeah, mostly things are turned off when you get started. So in some cases, you can just turn it on and it'll just pick a bunch of stuff for you, and then you get whatever it chooses to put on there. And in a lot of cases, it'll just sync a whole pile of stuff. So now we've got at the top info. This will give you a bit more info on things, your iCal and your address books. We're not going to worry about that in this particular episode. Apps on this one, we can actually sync our apps between these devices, make sure that we have specific ones. And you'll see a list here of all the apps that are on the iPad itself, and then you can move them around, slide things back and forth potentially. Again, we're not going to pay a lot of attention to apps this time because managing your apps on the devices themselves is relatively simple and straightforward. Now, we're going to move over here past ringtones to music. And this is where the fun starts. So we've got an option here, and by default right here on mine, it's off. So sync music is here, and you've got a checkbox. And as soon as we check that, it'll give us a warning here. It says, are you sure you want to sync music? All existing content on the iPad, Butterscotch's iPad, will be removed and replaced with songs and playlists from your iTunes library. Okay, so that means if you already have stuff on here, and you choose to do this and sync it with this machine, say for example you've synced it with another machine before, it'll erase everything on here. So don't just go ahead and do this. Make sure that you have everything backed up so that you don't erase everything that's on there without recompense. So we're going to choose Sync Music, and now it gives us a few options. And by default, it's selected Entire Music Library. Now that's wrong. That's not what you want, because that'll just give you absolutely everything you have. If you've got just a few albums on here, okay, that's fine. But if you've got like hundreds of albums on here,
Which you do.
yeah, which I do.
Yep. How many albums do you have?
I've got a couple thousand, I think, saved either in CD or digital form or both. So there's a lot of music that I can put on here. That won't fit onto a 16 gigabyte iPad.
No.
Even what I have on here right now, and this is just a small fraction of my music on this particular work machine, we see at the bottom here, it's actually put it over capacity, just syncing this right here. So if we choose selected playlists, we notice that goes way down because we haven't selected anything yet. So the bar here shows us in a live fashion what we're going to be adding on here. So again, entire music library whoop, just goes up to the top. 25 gigabytes, that's way too much for this particular space on here. So we want to get that down. So we'll change this from entire music library to selected playlists, artists, albums, and genres. Okay, so now we can actually choose what we want to see here. Now we can just choose specific artists over on the side. So we can choose, say, Big Star. I want to add that. And you'll notice at the bottom, the bar just went up a little bit. I can choose my Brian Eno. I can go and add the Cars. They've got a new album out. That's not adding a lot. So you notice that that's going up just a little bit as we do this.
It's not adding a lot because the album's not very good, or because there's not much content there?
There's not much content there. It's just adding one album's worth of stuff, whereas, say, Brian Eno, I might have like 10 albums in there, right? So on the side, we've got playlists. And we've also, if you scroll down, we have genres. So we can choose to just sync everything in our rock genre or everything in children's. So if you're giving this to your kids, you can select children's and it'll just automatically sync only that stuff. Or we can pick and choose between genres, artists, albums. We can manually say, okay, I want the Best of Aztec Camera because there's this great song that I really loved from that. And then you can scroll down each of these lists and just choose things individually. Now where it gets kind of interesting here is playlists. So if you have playlists that you've custom created already on iTunes, say all my favorite songs for summer, that sort of thing, you can check it off here. So in this case, we're going to choose 90s music, and that'll bump that up by a bunch. Not that I particularly love 90s music, but there you go. And then it gives you a few options here that are pre-baked into iTunes. At this point, Genius mixes. So Genius is something that Apple decides what might go well together in your collection, and then puts it into a mix here. So I can say new wave mix. I'm going to add that in. So now that added a little bit more. So now when I hit, if I hit apply, it'll sync that all over. All right, all of these specific things that I've chosen here. Now, this obviously is a lot less than the 25 gigs that I was
You're hyper-customizing here.
Yeah, you're hyper-customizing. So one of the ways to really deal with this, because obviously you're not going to want to sit here and check off, okay, I only want to listen to all my Brian Eno albums, because that could be a whole lot of stuff, and then you're missing out on some other stuff. So what you probably really want to do here is, if you have some time, start doing playlists. Create a smart playlist. And we'll show you how to do that a little bit later on. That will hit various specific points in there, or create your favorite songs. As you hear a song that you love, drag it into a specific playlist that you've defined, and then just check off that playlist, and it'll automatically sync all of those songs. And as you remove things from that playlist on iTunes, it'll remove it when you resync it again on this. So it'll remove it from your iPad, for example, or your iPod, or your iPhone. Oh, it works the same. We've got an iPad here, but it'll work the same if you have your iPhone connected or your iPod. So, and each of these can be synced separately. So I've got this set up, and I'm setting rules up for this device. If I plug my iPhone in, it's not going to do the same thing. It's device specific, not iTunes specific. Okay?
Good.
All right, so that's music. We have the ability to do this as well with movies. So now that we have the iPad, we have a lot of movies that we're going to want to take with us when we go, because this is a great movie device. And maybe not so much on your iPod, on the definitely not on the Shuffle, but on the iPod Touch. It's a small screen, your iPhone. You probably don't want to do so many movies. But with this, we probably want to make or pay close attention to what we've done, especially if we've bought a lot of content off of the iTunes store. So again, we're going to sync movies. It'll give us the warning about replacing things on here. So we're going to hit sync movies, and then we're going to choose things specifically speaking. Again, we're going to hit Inception below here and add that on. We bought Inception and added it in. And now next time we sync, it'll put Inception on here. But you can actually sort through this and do something a little bit smarter here. So that's just the default once in the bottom. But you'll notice right under sync movies, there's a little checkbox that says automatically include. So I'm going to check that off, and it changes what we've got here. It actually eliminates all of those things. We don't get to see what's there, but we have the ability to say, OK, automatically include all movies. Well, that's not going to work because now we're over capacity again. So we're going to choose automatically include, use the drop down, and we can choose the most recent, 1 most recent, 3 most recent, 5 most recent, or 10 most recent. Okay? So this is whether you've watched them or not. It'll put the most recent ones you've added into your collection on there. Now, you may not want to do that. You may only want to see things that you haven't seen already. So if I've seen the most recent episode of Lab Rats, and I don't want to put that over there, I want to see previous ones that I haven't looked at yet. So then we can go over to the bottom section here for unwatched. So we can choose all unwatched. That actually puts us under capacity because I've watched a lot of this stuff here. But we can go to 1 most, 3, 5, 10. And then we can also choose the 1 least recent unwatched. We can actually start getting more granular here. And 3, 5, and 10. So we actually have the ability to choose those sorts of things. Now, you can set up a smart playlist to potentially do this for you as well. But these are options that are baked in that will allow you to choose things that are unwatched, recent, or least recent unwatched.
Right.
And just choose the few. So we're going to choose 3 least recent unwatched, and we just got a bunch of space back.
OK, good. Very good.
Right? TV shows, pretty much the same sort of thing. Click on the Sync TV shows at the bottom, or at the top, and you have the ability to select manually, or at the top, we have the automatically include option again. We can choose all unwatched episodes of all shows, or we can choose this and select specific shows. We can go to all unwatched, or just the newest unwatched, the oldest unwatched. So we have the ability to very specifically select these things.
Mm-hmm. And what about, you talked about smart playlists, so I think you should probably cover that here, because that's a pretty advanced sort of, once you run out of options, you really want to hide it customized. So what's that about?
Right. OK, well, just before we get to that, just podcast, it works pretty much the same way. Okay. We'll just show you that. And books, again, if you have a device that'll do that, you have the ability to select specific books in that and only sync those. Okay, good. So we've got this into a manageable shape. Now, a smart playlist, there's a way to do smart playlists on here. So if you've done playlists before, chances are you've just hit the plus button at the bottom here and created a new playlist. And we see at the bottom we've got all our playlists, untitled playlist for us, call this Lab Rats. Now when we go into our music, we can just drag something from the main window here, all of our music, specifically into this Lab Rats playlist over onto the side. Grab a couple here just to show you. And then when we go over this and click on it, you'll see there's these 3 things that I've manually dragged in there. So that's one way to deal with this. You actually build them as you see things that you want to put into specific playlists. Like I have my summer tunes, beach tunes, going to sleep music, favorites, that sort of thing. Yeah. Now that is a very manual process, and you might not want to do that for like 1,000 songs. I mean, if you do that over the course of a year or so, then you've got some pretty good content there, but right off the bat, it's a bit of a chore. So at the bottom, if you hold down on this one, we're going to hold down Option and then hover over this. And it says Create a Smart Playlist now, and it gives you a little cog. So now we have the ability to create playlists by rules. So we can match the following rule.
So what did you do on the mouse pad there?
We hit Option on the keyboard. Okay. Or if you want, you can go up into the menu system and up under File in the Mac, and I think it's the same on the PC, you can go New Smart Playlist. Got it. All right, and then create it that way. And again, it brings it up by rules. So we see the first one, match the following rule. Artist contains, and then we can say everything that contains Eno. And that will put Eno into there. But that's not where the power is in this one. We're actually going to hit, we're going to get rid of that one. Because that's not what we want to do. I want to do date added. Okay. Now we're going to do most recent things. Date added is, or is not, or is after, or is before, or is in the last, or is in the range. So we have a few different options here. So is before, and then this particular date right now, and limit to. We have an option to limit this so it doesn't take absolutely everything that's before now. And otherwise, it would give us pretty much everything in our library again, which we don't want. So we want to limit this to, say, the last 500 tunes.
Right.
And limit to 500 items selected by random. This is the default, but we can actually drop that down again. Most recently played, least recently played, or most recently added. In this case, I'm going to do most recently added. So the 500 most recently added items. And then we can say match only checked items, or we can do live updating here. Now this is one option here. We can hit the plus sign here and create another line, so we can actually sort through this by multiple things. So if we want to select only genre, so instead of artist, we'll go to genre. I only want to hear things that are this one particular genre. Then I can add that in as a factor too, okay? And if I want to remove that, I can just hit the minus sign here. So then when I'm done, I'm just going to go by the date. I only want to get the last 500 tracks that I've added in here. Then I'm going to hit OK. And now that thing that I've just added in here just automatically populates with the last 500 things I added into my library.
Yeah, it's a hyper-customized, it's really amazing how granular you can manage the content in there.
Right. So then I've got this playlist here that is most recent on the side that I've just named it most recent. And now I can just sync that most recent folder over to my device.
Right.
So that's one way to do it. And here's the nice trick about that is you can add a smart playlist on the device itself and do exactly the same thing. So that even if you aren't managing it like this, if you're just one of those people that just drags things over there, it'll keep track of that for you.
Neat.
So as you add that onto your device, every time it syncs, it'll recalculate what's the most recent stuff that's on there and put it into a playlist on the device itself, even if you don't have that on your iTunes.
Amazing.
Okay.
Good.
One other pro tip here.
Okay.
One more quick pro tip. Now, we don't have to sync all of these things. Some of these things you'll want to sync, like your ringtones and TV shows maybe. But you can actually, from the summary page here, click on this. And I've got this, manually manage music and videos. If you don't have that checked, you can only put music onto this thing using sync. If you check it off, you can actually drag things on a one-by-one basis, and often from other people's iTunes libraries as well. So you can actually take this over to someone's machine, drag that song over. And there it's now on there. You don't actually have to do sync, because you saw at the beginning when we said sync, it said we're going to erase it. Well, no, we don't want to do that. But by checking that off, you can actually put things on a one-by-one basis without having to go through the entire hassle of syncing everything.
Amazing.
So there you go.
Okay. We told you you were going to be a master of the iTunes sync by the time we got done this episode. So thanks a lot, Sean. That's great. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we have Clip of the Week, Final Thoughts, and your pictures after this. Well, welcome back to Lab Rats. So final thoughts about this? You had one more extra super fantastic tip.
Yeah, one more thing that Paul mentioned, actually, which is fair enough, because I've been using this so long, it's just sort of natural to me. I mentioned that you can drag things on a one-by-one basis over there. You don't have to drag them one by one. You can actually grab a whole pile of them and use Shift and then hold, and then actually select a whole pile in a big block. So you can grab a whole pile of them and move them all in one group like so, and that'll push them over there. And you see I'm copying 19 tracks over there just because I grabbed 19 at random. Cool. So you can do it in bigger chunks than just 1, 2, 3, so don't worry about that.
Got it. There you go. Now you're a master, plus you have extra tips.
Yes.
All right. Now this is the time of the show where we show you a clip of something on the butterscotch.com network, and you're going to love it. It is, what is it, Paul?
It's How Do I Say That Sean Did on the Apple TV.
Oh, I knew that.
There you go. So it says something. You tell the lovely people out there in Lab Rats Land about it.
All right. Well, we did an Apple TV series on here. We got this little device here, and we did a whole how to use it series. And one of them is how you can actually stream content directly from your devices, like your iPhone or your iPad, straight to this device here.
Cool. All right. Let's take a look at that 30-second clip just to get a taste of it, and you can check it out yourself on butterscotch.com. Let's have a look.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List. Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
Now, one nice feature about the Apple TV is that when you load up something that you've started watching before, you can actually resume playing from the previous location. Now you notice after you stop playing, the little blue dot on the side will indicate whether it's watched or unwatched. A full blue dot will indicate that it's unwatched. Half and half will indicate that it's partially watched. And if you've watched the entire thing, it will be empty. Now you notice when you go back into it, it'll give you the option to resume playing from the place that you left off. So in case you have to stop watching a movie or a TV show or whatever, you can go back in and watch by clicking resume right from the place where you left off.
If you want to see the entire episode of that, how do I zip on over to butterscotch.com and use this fantastic URL here, right here on the screen. It'll express train you straight to that, and you can see the whole series.
Express train to How Do I Goodness.
How do I goodness? There you go.
Awesome.
All right, and now we have photos and pictures of the week, and I love them, and they're great, and I'm excited, and it's the end of the day, so let's wrap it up.
All right. So we got 3 for you today.
Yes.
Right.
Three.
So first up, from Andrew, who is in Washingtonville, New York. Andrew recently bought his first Mac, and I guess that is it over on the left. And he says he absolutely loves the gestures on this thing. So, you know, with
what kind of gestures?
The gestures on the trackpad. So you can actually use your fingers in different ways, like 2 fingers down is scroll. And you can do it that way if you really wanted to. So he's really loving the Mac experience so far.
Very exciting.
Thank you for sending that along, Andrew.
And it looks like he's got a Dell machine there that I vaguely looks familiar.
It does look familiar.
I
It
had
looks
one
a
like
little-
that, I think.
Is that an XPS?
I think it is an XPS.
There we go.
Very exciting.
Oh, with a fingerprint scanner as well.
So exciting. Deluxe,
But
man.
yeah, the MacBook Air probably wins for me as well. So,
Okay.
All right. Next up, our pal Jack Rumpel was telling us about his hacked Prius.
Oh, yeah.
And he wanted to let us know. First of all, he didn't hack it himself.
Oh.
He actually paid a company to hack it, and this is a project to get his gas mileage up, and it's all legit. It's all above board. This is not something that voided his warranty necessarily, and it is something that he did with supervision from actual professionals.
I got it.
He didn't just go in there with a
doesn't go,
screwdriver. Yeah, exactly. So he wanted to send us an update here as to how his project is going, and look at that.
That's very
101 miles per gallon.
Wow.
And this is using an app that keeps track of that.
Called Fuely.
Yeah, and you can see how many miles per gallon he's getting and all of the other stats, including the price and how much he's paying, and I'm guessing how much he's saving.
That's
And figure it
amazing.
out from there. So thank you, Jack.
Jack's the man.
And
Cool.
one more, and you might know this guy. This is this is me with someone that just sort of wandered into my backyard last weekend, and it seems to be lost. So I've got a new cat. At least for now. So we're waiting to see if anyone claims it, but it's not looking good at this point for someone to claim it.
He looks like he's got a bit of an attitude.
Yeah, she's just, it's a she, and she's a little bit scared as to what's going on, I think. But she did climb right up on me like that. I didn't actually put her up there.
Oh, really?
She climbed right up on me, so she's friendly.
Oh.
So we'll see what happens.
Do we have a name yet?
Not yet.
No.
And no, I'm not going to have a contest.
Captain Spaulding.
Captain Spaulding. You can suggest names.
Andy?
No. I'm not calling my cat Andy. But anyways, we'll see, and we'll have more pictures, I guess, later
More
on.
pictures and a name.
Yes.
And if you name Sean's cat, we'll send you something.
Yes, if I choose it.
The cat.
Oh, well. Yeah, send you the cat. That's a good idea.
I'm not going to call the cat like Monsieur Dingleberry or anything like that if that's what you send in. So, I mean, be creative, I guess. But
Monsieur Dingleberry?
yes.
That's a keeper.
Yeah, no, that's not the cat's name, although I suspect that's what you're probably going to call the cat every single time now, from now on.
Monsieur Dingleberry. Well, Mademoiselle, if it's a girl.
Yeah.
Mademoiselle Dingleberry.
Yeah,
Is it
I
so? Was it Lord? Okay. Stay tuned for cat naming in future episodes.
Yes.
Hilarious. Thank you, Sean, for that great picture. Made me giggle. All right. That's it for this week. It would be foolish for us to be showing you iTunes sync tips here if you weren't out there going, how do I get, what's something really funny? Give me a really funny series. It'd be silly for us to be here showing you iTunes sync if you weren't out there going, how am I getting the third season of Star Trek on my iPad?
There we go.
There you go. Wow.
See,
I try. I asked for help. What happens? No.
I didn't know where you were going,
I
but I
know.
think you pulled that off.
Thank you very much. All right, my name's Andy Walker,
I'm Sean Carruthers.
and we'll see you next time.
Are you ready?
What would happen if you set that shoe polish on
It'd
fire?
be fun, whatever it would be. Oh, look, speaking of shoe, I need this.
Focus, focus.
ADD Andy's coming back in 5, 4.
There's our blooper.
See? It's nice.
All right, let's.
Sorry.
Can I ask for a raise yet?